Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Lynda Elliott. I am a local realtor here in Santa Barbara, Montecito, and I'm here today with Jeff Boxler of Guaranteed Rate. Jeff has been in lending for over 20 years, if you can believe it. So he has assisted everything from my first-time home buyers to my very savvy repeat buyer sellers. So he's got lots of tricks up his sleeve. Uh, Jeff and I are really committed to helping people become homeowners. And that's why we've started doing this series of webinars. And we really want to share what we've learned and what we've been asked by our mutual clients to try and help other people in that process. Uh, welcome, first of all, Jeff. Thank you so
Thank
much for your
you
time
for having me,
today.
Linda.
I just
Good to be here.
so enjoy our chats, and I always learn something, and I know that people really appreciate your knowledge. So thank you for sharing.
Well, happy to share. And yeah, I always love the questions you ask and the insights. I mean, it definitely makes me better at what I do. So
Thank you. Well, we've done several seminar webinars, and it seems like things kind of dovetail together. And we've talked about different options for down payments and how what different less than 20% programs and how people become homeowners and our commitment to that. And of course, one of the most important parts of that is getting a down payment. You said it's the number one
yeah.
biggest deterrent, is that right?
Yeah, it's the number one hurdle for people to buy. That's the number one reason people say why they haven't purchased. A lot of the studies are around showing that this is really the hurdle that people struggle to overcome to be a homeowner.
And even with our reduced percentage programs for down payment, people still have to save. So you and I were talking about some ideas and things that you've shared previously that have been successful to help people get that down payment amount. So I'm going to just let you kind of share with our audience your expertise. What have you learned and what has been most successful for people?
Okay, well, I'm gonna give a little context of what kind of got me super interested in this part of the process, because obviously I'm lending money, right? That's the job that I do, and helping people figure out what's the best financing debt they can take out to purchase a home. Okay. And I've been doing it, like Linda said, for 20 years. The savings component of life is so important. Okay. And where I started to see this is when I started turning, or like me and my friends started turning 30 years old. Okay. They went through their 20s, had a great time, traveled the world, got to go to fun concerts, like just a lot of great experience, focused spending. Okay. Save up money, work in two jobs, and then go travel, right? Like it's like such an amazing time of life to do that. But what I felt in our community in Santa Barbara, housing prices are so gosh darn expensive. Okay. And a lot of communities right now feel very expensive. Whether it's expensive, it's all relative, right? But wherever you're at, housing feels very expensive. So it leads a lot of people to say, I will never buy a house, right? They look at it and go, I'm throwing in the towel without even trying. There's no way it's possible. Okay. So what ends up happening is they go through their 20s, right? 2004 was like right out of college for a lot of my friends. And they go through their 20s with peak home prices for a number of years and don't put a penny toward their home savings budget. Okay. So they get to the 30s, now they're married up, now they're having a kid, now they're going, we want a home. And then they're turning to me and saying, Jeff, what do we qualify for? And I'm going, you've done a fantastic job saving in your 401k, but you have nothing in your savings account. And so we're now having to pull from their 401k, which is their retirement, meant for retirement, which, hey, it's fine. You're paying yourself back by taking out a loan, but it's not as ideal. Okay. Far more ideal to be pulling money from a savings account than a 401k account for the purchase of a home. And it just had me thinking, hey, Lynda, like, what if we just started planting seeds earlier that people are going to want to buy a home at some point? And can we just get them to start putting some money aside? Doesn't need to be a lot, because usually at 22 years old, you're not making a lot of money. You don't feel like, but you actually have an ability to save. Like, you can move your budget around pretty flexibly in a lot of ways, like where you live, how you live, with roommates, without roommates, sharing a room, whatever, right? Like, it's a little bit easier to even find money to save. But can we get that mindset? Like, at some point, you're going to wake up and go, my landlord's awful. I'm having a kid. I'm getting married, wherever, right? Like, something is going to drive you to go, housing is important.
My
And
landlord's
owning,
selling.
yeah, or my landlord's selling. Like, I need to control this Maslow hierarchy of need of housing in my own destiny. I need it to be in my own, right? And so that's where savings matters, okay? Is whether you do it today or do it 10 years from now, having that money ready to go or on the path so you don't have to cut so many corners. And again, we did a webinar on less than 20% down. It doesn't need to be 20% down, okay? Just to remind everyone. But getting on that path now, again, whether you want to buy now or not, doesn't matter. Get yourself a savings account, entitle it home purchase, dream home, whatever gets it gets you excited. Okay, so that's the grounding for this, okay, is what fires me up about savings. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more ideas that many of you have listening in of ways you found helpful saving. But these are ones that have been useful that I've seen. So I'm going to share them with you today. And then obviously put in the chat other ideas, and reach out to us individually, and we'll make sure the next one we have, we talk about that too. So the first thing, like we said, Lynda, saying yes to buying a house, right? Just know that this is going to happen. Like, no matter who you are, how detached you are from society and not wanting to participate, or how, like, you don't want money to control your life, or you want to be more of a vagabond, you want to be able to travel. At some point, you're going to want to be able to tell everyone else, no, this is my property, this is my whatever. Okay. First thing in savings, your friends matter. Okay. And Lynda and I were talking about this the other day. That if you have friends that love to go to the nicest hotel and dine at the nicest restaurants and right? Travel's more expensive, going out's more expensive, etc. Versus the friends that are on a teacher's budget that's like, let's buy a bottle of wine and go sit and look at the ocean, or go walk up the trail and look out over the land, or sit on our back porch. And we just did that experience for $20. We engaged with our friends. We had a great soulful experience. It was wonderful, full of laughter, etc. And you could do that on the cheap, or you can do it very expensively and have a similar experience and outcome. Okay. Who your friends matter in that? Will your friends say yes to just buying a reasonable price bottle of wine, or no bottle of wine, and just, making snacks or making pizza together or making whatever, right? Those friends matter. And some friends will spend your money as quickly as they can for you, tell you to buy the new shirt, the new shoes, the new whatever. You go shopping with them, right? Like, just buy it. And other friends will be like, hey, remember you're saving for that home purchase. Like, hold off on that. Let's just get one appetizer instead of two. Let's just get one drink instead of two. Let's get, like, right? Like, our friends determine how good we are. We are a product of the 5 people we hang out with most, whether it be our health, whether it be our finance, etc. I'm a big believer in that. Okay. Lifestyle choices matter. So that's the same thing. Like, where are you going to spend your time when you spend your day? Where are you going to spend your money on rent? Are you willing to hack some things Do you need to be right in the middle of town? Can you take the bus? Can you take a bike? Can you take whatever? Like, can we blend health and savings by I'm going to participate in sports that are really cheap, or I'm going to participate in sports that are really expensive, right? Like, I love running. So the cost for running for me is a $120 pair of shoes, maybe every 6 months, and some gym shorts and a t-shirt. Otherwise, I can walk out the back of my door and do what I love without paying for a gym membership. And I get the fresh air and invigoration, endorphins, and everything else. Like, that's my lifestyle choice. It's a cheaper lifestyle than if I wanted to do Pilates class, 3 days a week. And not knocking Pilates, but it's just, where are you putting your money? Where are you putting your time? What things are, where's your lifestyle? And how can some of your lifestyles take some tweaks if, again, our whole goal is the biggest purchase of our life will be a house, okay? And if we want to try to do it the right way, and knowing how much that's going to give us, right, Lynda? It's going to give us a lot. It's going to give us a lot. I'm going to stop the screen share just so you can see me, but we'll keep talking through this list. But like, the overall, like, I think a lot of people look at savings as like holding them back from something. Like, I have to say no to what I want right now, okay? I just encourage you to look at it and go, yeah, you're saying no to a t-shirt or new shiny shoes or nice stilettos or whatever, right? But you're saying yes to a house that's like the very basic, primal, important experience of your life, that all these little no's are actually yeses compounding to be the great purchase of a home. Okay. So you're not saying no, you're saying yes. Yes to a house. Yes to a house. Okay. So let's just turn this around. We're not depriving ourselves long term. Might short term, I feel like we're not getting the little boost that I wanted by shopping and whatever else. Okay. The next piece that we need to keep in mind is imagery is powerful. Okay. So there's a lot of studies around, if I put a photo on the mirror in the bathroom, right? Like, my wife is so into this. Every year she does a collage of what she wants her year to be about. So we go through magazines and cut out everything. And half the years I'm not around for it. Another half the years I'm participant with her. And it's really an important tool to go, like, what do I really want to manifest into my life, right? And so a house purchase, a house savings is a long experience, okay? We need every help we can get to stay on track, because there will be things like car gets hit, or we hit a car and now we got a $1,500 expense that we need to come up with. And now that just detracted us from 3 months or 6 months of savings that we just made on the home purchase. Okay. So the imagery, we're going to have that beautiful home. We're going to have a picture of it. We're going to have either printed out or on our phone, or where are we going to put this to keep reminding ourselves on Friday night when we're going out to get happy hour with a friend, like, this is my vision. My vision is this beautiful home with a beautiful deck, a beautiful fence, and whatever else, whatever this house looks like, or out in the middle of nowhere, or a big mansion, or a little tiny house, whatever it is, keep that image close, okay? And keep having it hit you so you can say, again, yes to it, and quicker no's to the things that you aren't going to fill your cup more than that split second, okay? You can have fun on the cheap. You can have experiences with friends on the cheap, okay? Not saying you shouldn't treat yourself every once in a while. I'm just saying on the whole, okay? So imagery, we're going to tie imagery into our savings goal. We're going to have, so travel on the cheap. It's way easier to travel on the cheap when we're younger than when we get older. We love the niceties as we get older. Travel gets way more expensive as we get older and less adventurous, okay? So put more of your travel younger is my opinion. You'll get to see the world and stay in hostels and whatever else and travel around on buses. I did it, loved it. But travel can be a quick big hit to your budget, right? Lynda, like it's amazing, but it can be expensive. So we're going to also stay away from, here's something that a lot of people don't recognize. Stay away from crypto, Tesla stock, gold investments for your savings account. Put it in a savings account that actually makes a little bit of interest. Okay. I like Capital One. Other people like Ally. There's Marcus. There's Wealth. Another one. Wealthfront is one of my friends started, which is an amazing company that gives you great returns on your savings account. Why do you want it in savings versus crypto, Tesla, gold? Yeah, you can make a lot of money, but the risk is not worth the reward. What happens if crypto's down 50% at the time that you want to buy? You find a beautiful home with Lynda, and now crypto's just fallen 20%. You're like, I don't have my down payment anymore. Okay. So anything that you're saving for that's less than 10 years, any financial advisor is going to say put it in savings. Don't put it in the stock market. Stock market takes big runs and drops. Big runs, drops. You don't want to be at a time where it's drops. When housing might be actually most advantageous to buy, people are scared, people are worried, their portfolios are down, and now you're down too, and you can't make that purchase because you've got all your eggs tied into a stock. Okay. And I just saw this with one of my other clients is like, yeah, I thought Tesla was going to run up and it's dropped like X%, and like it was really holding him back. So we're going to save our money in a savings account. Okay. Next thing that we're going to talk about is so we're going to set a goal. Okay. I know I'm talking a lot, Lynda. You set me on fire. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. You're muted, by the way. We're gonna hold on. We're gonna go back one. Let me see if I can go back. Okay. I should be able to hear you now. So we're setting a goal, right? No idea what it's gonna be, but we're gonna set a goal. We're gonna divide our savings goal by a number of months you plan to save. Let's say it's 5 years out. You're like, I want 5% down. Lynda gave me some listings to help me out. I'm gonna need X number of dollars. Okay. Or I talked to Jeff. He says I need X number of dollars. We're gonna divide that out over 5 years. We're gonna open this savings account with Capital One, Ally, wherever. Just make sure it allows you to get interest on your dollars. So Capital One is great one, Marcus, etc. They allow you to name it and you get interest on your money. And you're going to name it whatever gets you excited. Okay. And I'll tell you on the next screen why this is so important. Okay. So whatever gets you excited and only what that money's for. Okay. It's not going to be a generic interest maximizer savings account. No one gets excited about that. That's what like my B of A account is. Like I put no money in it. Okay. We're going to set reminders in our calendar like, hey, remember, Jeff, like you're saving for a home purchase. Set little reminders throughout your year to keep you focused on this. Okay. Keep bringing you back to the well. Keep bringing you back to the big vision. Little times like I always overspend on Fridays, or I always overspend in March, or I always overspend in December, or always like put little reminders in those times of the year, and then put little reminders throughout weeks and months. Okay. Again, we're bringing ourselves back. We're going to solicit others. So we're going to tell others, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. This is why. So again, they don't spend our money for us. Okay. There's a lot of studies around this. Again, how our friends being the wind at our back when we get tired, when we get upset, when we get frustrated, when we feel like it's taking too long, let our friends carry us in those times. Okay. And then we're going to identify debts to cut out. And we're going to save any pay increases. So if I get a 5% pay increase, all that 5% is going to my home savings. Okay. Or 3% and give you 2%. Like a nicety fund where I'm going to take myself to the spa, or I'm going to take myself to a nice little, you know, like, but try to, you've been living off the lower pay up until this point. So try to take that extra money that you just got the boost or the tax refund and put it right into savings. Don't put it toward like some shorter term thing, or put a portion of that shorter term thing and the rest goes to this bigger cost. Okay. And any questions on that, Lynda?
No, you're on a roll.
Okay,
I'll
great.
add some things at the end.
Okay, great. Here's my last thing on the savings, why we're naming our savings. Okay, so this is my actual names of savings accounts: home savings, health expenses, annual donations. Okay. If we name an account, we tend to save 66% more for that save. And if we put reminders in, we save another 16%. So for every $1,000 we'd save on the interest maximizer B of A account or Wells Fargo or whatever, we'd save $820 more. $820 more just by having a name savings account and reminders to save. So maybe it's every the first of the month, or maybe we just automate out of our paycheck, money goes right in. Okay. This is just the most powerful, simple thing you can do. And here's why it works. If I've got a crisis of money, okay, I then go to my savings account and go, ugh, I don't want to take from my home savings. That's my big goal. I have to. Okay, so let's say you have to. You're not going to do that again, or not very frequently. If it's called savings maximizer, transfer money back and forth. No big deal. I'll put money back in later, right? There's no soul involved. There's no check on like your overall pursuit of this goal. When it has a name there, it gives you far more incentive to protect that money and guard it, not use it as often. Okay. So you'll take from it less and you'll learn from it when you do take from it. Okay. It's so powerful. And this is like, there's a lot of studies around this. Okay. So that's what if you're going to do nothing more from this call, I'd say save money in a savings account, not stock. Okay. And make sure it's saved, named. And all my best saving clients, all my clients that have all their money saved up, that do a really good job of savings, they all use this tool. Okay. And that is short as I could do it, with hopefully as much color as helpful. And I hope all of you on this webinar really find a little value. And I'd love to hear thoughts from you, Lynda, first, and then we'll go off of recording and answer chats.
Perfect.
So
Jeff,
go ahead.
thank you. That was awesome. And you know what I loved about it? It was with heart. It wasn't, and it was real, because we all face those struggles of wanting to be selfish, right? We want to do it all. We want to go to the nicer restaurants. We want to go on these expensive vacations. We look on Instagram and we see what everybody else is doing. And well, why aren't we doing that? Right?
Yes.
And I think you made a great point that we're not saying no forever, but there's that lifestyle choices that we can make for a short term. And maybe you establish even what that period of time is going to be, whether it's you or you've got a spouse or partner. Are we going to do this for a year? Are we going to do it for 2 years? Like, what's our goal? And in that period of time, we're willing to make some lifestyle changes. Maybe we rent not our ideal apartment. Maybe we bring in a roommate for 12 months. Maybe we make a little bit of sacrifice now to really achieve that goal. And we do it with just a sense of commitment, and just very much like starting an exercise routine or something. The first couple months are the hardest. But if you really have that we call it the big why, it makes it easier. So you're looking at that short-term versus long-term gain. The most incredible budgeter is actually my daughter. I am so
Yeah.
proud of her, and I wish she got it from me. She didn't.
Yeah.
I'm getting it from her
Yeah.
because I watched what she's been able to do and create in her life, and home ownership was one of them. But she is a budget queen and she
Yeah.
uses an app. And I think that's the next step on what you were talking about is in order to get to that down payment, it's so important to have a budget that you agree
Yeah.
on
Yep.
and you track that budget. And I watch her track that budget. You know, she plans meals. She sticks to the budget when she goes to Costco. She doesn't buy that extra, just because
Yeah.
it's a really cool thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
your cart. Or if it does, then when she gets to the end, she evaluates what's in the cart and some of those things will go back. So it's a
Yep.
very thoughtful process. And I know she works with a couple of apps. She's working with Mint, but you said you're
Yep.
not sure if that's continuing.
Yep.
Okay, that's my word of wisdom, just seeing what she's been able to achieve. And her next goal is she is opening up a high interest account with Ally. Like she's
Yep.
so on top of saving for their future as well as living a life right now that they're really happy with.
I love that. Yeah, and that brings up a couple of things if we got a minute or two, is I don't think people also factor in like, well, I could only save $50 this month or $25 or whatever. Know that over time, if you're single, you might partner up with someone and now you can save $50 or $100 or $200. Like you like that plus having that why and bigger vision allows you to make better choices like, oh, this job opportunity, that's going to allow me to get closer and save $500 a month or 1,000 or get a big stock bonus like that's going to hyper move me forward. There's a lot of variables in life that might be ahead that you're not accounting, but just getting the practice in of the budget, like I've heard this all the time, is like a lot of people look at it as rigid, right? Like, I don't want to live that rigidity. And it's like you use that platform for freedom. Like it allows you then to be free. Like if you save for a trip, because like part of this, you'd be like, I'm gonna budget in a $2,000 of travel this year, right? When you go on that trip and you've saved it, and like you're so free to spend the money. Whereas if you didn't save for it, you're like, well, I don't know. I'm here traveling. I should just do it. But like in the back of your mind, you're like, this is going on credit card and I don't know how I'm gonna pay for it. Like it's way more freeing to travel when you've set aside the money. It's way more freeing to like go into Costco and buy like a cool toy of the Costco's your toy place. But like, like when you have that money set aside for it. And I love like Mint, I've been a big fan of for years, and I'm actually am sad that it's closing up shop. They haven't been able to find a way to make enough money on it to make it work. But there are other great savings tools and savings apps and saving communities and hacks. And
And
so
budgeting.
yeah. So I love what your daughter's done, and she's living a fulfilling life. It's not like she's, living just between four walls and never going out and seeing people and without a community. And I think that's a reminder to everyone is there's creative ways to live um, and get there.
Yeah, I think it's actually a point of pride for her because
Love
of what
that.
they've achieved. Yeah. And it's being mindful all the time. Whatever
Yeah.
you're spending does it go toward our long-term goals or is it worth the investment short term?
Yeah. And again, these all tools could be used for buying a boat. Like if you're wanting to sail around the world, like forget the home part, just aim for the boat part, But like hopefully this is useful to your community, Linda, and gets people,
Absolutely.
fired up about saving like I am.
Jeff, thank you so much. This was a fun topic, totally different than what we usually chat about. But you know what? If people aren't able to save the down payment, we can't help them with the rest of it.
Yeah,
Unless if had somebody
absolutely.
willing to give it to him.
Well, as we'd love to be those guides for you, here's our contact information. And like we said, we're gonna quit the recording in just a second and then go live to any questions. So let us know if you have them. We'd be happy to answer them now or individually through our phone or email or in person if you're in town. Thanks
Thank
for
you
having me,
for your
Linda.
time. It was awesome. Let's do it again.
I'd love to. Thanks for having me.